going to find yourself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So you're off in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. Doesn't qualify as well as he races. Only
Up front, they are getting a weird, but Lee Aberdeen and Luca Barani not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
And I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Oh, Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Barani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike. Could have a go. Werrell, don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's just like trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolute serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah. And
It's all about the entertainment, so I hope
everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is enjoying himself watching Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday evening. It's the UkSimracers MX5 Season 2 2024, Round 11 of the summer season, live from the Oschersleban Grand Prix circuit. I'm James Parfitt, going to be joined, as I have been for all of the season, and will be for this round and the final round, It is Mr. Tom Cairns alongside me. Good evening, Colin Sanson. Good evening, Phil. Welcome in, as always, dear sir. We are on the Grand Prix circuit, 2.297 miles. The circuit itself being born in 1997. Still a baby in conjunction with Circuit Life here. Not really changed much. It's added about, literally, I think it was about 0.17 of a mile over the history for the Grand Prix circuit, but you know, it should be a very interesting one. Not a circuit that everybody knows, as most of you are probably sitting at home going, where? It is in Germany, in the city of Oschersleban, so that would explain a lot. Let's bring you up to date with the point standings, starting off with the pros. Dan Hunt out in front on 1,504, with Jamie Ayres in second on 1,350. Jamie Wilson on 1,158, with Steve Hefford on 1,065. Ralph Cullenham in fifth on 1,012. Then you got PVG, Pete Newman, Martin Sampson, Tom Griffiths, and Dries Neese and Carl Hardy, the last of the scorers. You see the people below that have not scored points. Then in the AMs, it's Ollie Ricks out in front by 1,030. That's no surprise. The guy is absolutely flying. Darren McLean in second, with Colin Sampson in third on 9.40. Then Roger Morton on 9.36. Then you got Charles Kellerman in fifth on 8.84. Then Darrell Wright, Fiona Siddon, Steve Hansford, Andy Littler, Alan Toon, Mick Barry. Then you got the likes of Arnold Chaudinet, Callum McPherson and Craig Jones, who have not scored as of yet. What is that doing to the overall? The two seasons mixed together so far, it is 3,021 for Dan Hunt and Jamie Ayres in second, Jamie Wilson in third. PVG in fourth, with Pete Newman and Ralph Cullenham fifth and sixth. Then Steve Hefford, Tom Griffiths and Colin Sampson in ninth. Charles Kellerman in 10th. Then you've got Darrell Wright, Fiona Siddons, Darren McLean, Martin Sampson and Andy Littler rounding out the top 15. Ollie Ricks, Alan Toon, Steve Hansford and Roger Morton round out the top 20. Then you got Miles Owens, Mick Barry, John Sylvester, Ewan Bramer, Callum McPherson, Arnold Chaudinet, Craig Jones, Dan Dennison, Dan Lewis, Dries Neese and Carl Hardy. In the overall team standings at this moment in time, so the two seasons mixed together, is Momo out in front on 7.534. Got an insurmountable lead over a results Clavin iRacing team on 4.843. Optical Green on 4.493, sitting in third with Work Guard by result on 4.289. They changed positions last week. DOF Reality on 3,300 with Team Chimera on 25.18, Year 1 on 2.065, Safeguard by result, Pure Sims result, Pure Sims, SimRace Sweden and Aerokinetics round out the top 12. We've got about 27 seconds left of practice. We are going for a top 8 reverse race 2. So remember that one and write that one down. It's a top 8 reverse race 2. Race 3 will be a complete random grid, and round 4 we will bring to you and let you know the reverse grid once we change it over sessions after race 2. For 15 minutes for qualifying, which is what we are just about to go into now. I feel it's a big time to bring in Mr. Tom Cairns into the booth. Tom, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Hello, James. Hello to everyone that's tuned in. Yes, we're at the Oschersleban, situated in the district of Border, which is sort of around about central Germany. And I do quite like this circuit, James, so I'm going to have to counter what you've just said about the circuit itself. It is quite tricky. I have experience of the racing game, of other racing games around this track. It's not the easiest circuit to navigate, but there's something about it that really brings me joy about. And I think it's kind of like the twisty sort of sections of the circuit where the drivers sort of wind through. It is a clockwise circuit, 3.36 kilometers long. And of course, like you say, it's a relatively new circuit, first opened in 1997. And when I think of Oschersleban, I think of Jamie Davis's great drive in Formula 3000 in 1998, the opening round of the 1998 Formula 3000 Championship, which, in case those of you who don't know what that is, it's essentially Formula 1's feeder series before drivers head off to race in other championships like IndyCar or Formula 1 or World Endurance Championship, whatever it may be. And Jamie Davis came through from the very back of the field all the way up to a podium position. And when we say the back of the field, we mean round about where something like 27th or 28th place, something like that. And that tells you something.
does. I think just my own personal preference of this circuit. I don't find it fun to drive any more than I do sometimes watching racing around here. I think it's a very, I don't know. It reminds me, if you're looking at it, you can see a lot of Snetterton in there, the way that some of the shapes in the infield runs, but I don't know, it's just not for me, this circuit. As I say, I don't find it fun to drive when I do drive, but these guys might, of course, bring out the best of the circuit. We're just about to go over the line. It's not a very long lap here. On board with Pete Newman we go, as we're going into the turn 1 here, which is the sharp left-hander, and then into Hotel, which is a long looping right, before we go down into Hasselroder, which is turn number 3. See, it's, I don't know, it's just not for me, Tom. It's just not for me on this one.
I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, it's not every driver's circuit either, although Pete Newman will be hoping that this circuit is very much for him on the back of what we saw in Mugello. 2 wins prior to that round. He came away with 3 on the night alone, and that was a sensational drive. He was the driver of the night, no question. And he looks to build on that here at Oschersleban as he goes towards the long sort of loops around this circuit, which are quite different. It almost sort of, this was obviously a lot long before the Hanoi street circuit was meant to be joining Formula One, but it kind of gives me that fight a little bit, that looping bit, that sort of, it almost makes you go dizzy when you go around it. It's almost like, what track am I at here? It kind of gives you that vibes heading towards that particular section of the racetrack. And Pete Newman will be aiming to go for pole here. And one driver to maybe look out for a little bit is Fiona Siddons, who in that practice session, she did a grand total of 60 laps, which is more than double of any other driver competing this evening.
Well, I couldn't do 60 laps, I've got to be honest. I don't think I'll do 60 laps in general, but then again, I generally just turn left. Newman on a 1:38.95, the only man into the 1:38s here. And then you've got Wilson, Van Gaal, Hefford, Ed, Morton, Sanson. So far, the only ones with times on the board. Andy Littler just about to come over the line as well. And what's Littler going to be able to do here? He puts himself in 8th place. Siddons, who is on the race circuit. No time on the board as of yet for Fiona Siddons. She's coming round the, where is she at the moment? Round turn 4, Hasselroder, I believe, before she goes down through the left and right here. As you say, did 60 laps. Are we expecting great things from Fiona Siddons, or the fact that she's done 60 laps, are we putting too much pressure on her?
I don't think it's too much pressure, but we are hopeful that she's going to have a better evening, perhaps her best round of the summer campaign so far. We've got 1 round to go after this at Daytona, then we've got a 2-week break before the UK SimRacers Championship resumes for its autumn campaign in September.
Yeah, we normally have a 2-week break from this series. It'd be week 13, and then generally we start off after week 13 on that one. So the week 13 will be the 3rd of September, and then we'll be back on the 10th of September. So the 27th of August will be the last round before we come back again. Siddons hopefully going to try and get a time on the board. Hello, Mr. Parfitt, soon to be birthday boy, and Tom. Yes, if you aren't aware, it is in about 4 hours' time, technically, my birthday, gentle, tender age of 21 again.
Well, I wasn't expecting to maybe declare your age, but but I know that feeling anyway. But of course, happy birthday to you in a few hours' time. I'm sure you'll make the most of it with your family and everything that you do.
He's 52. Mr. Jones, I am certainly not 52. You cheeky rascal. No, I am not 52. I did say to my daughter the other day, she said, Daddy, how old are you? I said, I'm 21. She said, really? She went, "You're not much older than me." I said, I know, my little love, I'm not much older than me, until my wife in the background shouted, "Liar!" And then I had to declare the truth that I am heading to the big 4-6 tomorrow. So,
Well, at least, you know, I'm sure, you know, you're still going anyway, and obviously you've done a lot of brilliant commentary work over the years anyway, James, and you've still very much got it, and you're still very much enjoying the motorsport scene, as have your family. I'm sure they'll be very, very proud of everything that you've done. We've got a spinner there. Oh, it's just clouted with another driver before the last turn. Sorry to interrupt my sympathetic thoughts for you. And it's to do with Steve Hefford, I think, who's just come together, although he got someone else got that round. Two Momo drivers. Oh, dearie me.
Yeah, that was Collins. I believe that was actually Jamie Wilson, who may have led that one off from Team Chimera, taps around PVG. PVG not holding his brakes, and Steve Hefford comes in. That is the end of qualifying. They're not allowed to request new cars. They cannot go back out onto the racetrack. Why all of a sudden has this decided to go a little bit Pete-tong here? Okay, right, excuse me 2 seconds. It's doing that wonderful thing once more as we go into 7 minutes, but that's going to put PVG, Steve Hefford into the pits. Alan Toon, Charles Kellerman's in the pits as well, but Pete Newman is still out there as well. Good afternoon, Al Dominici. How are you? Thanks so much for joining us. Good afternoon. That must make you in the US, dear sir. It's 8 o'clock in the evening. The one that falls asleep all the time. Yes, Mr. Jones, that one. Being that she's only 7, she will be sleeping all the time as well. However, not so much during the summer holidays. I will point that one out to you as well. Doesn't really sleep much during the summer holidays, but which child does? The grid's been quite depleted because of that incident there and that, but we've still got Roger Moran in that 92 Pure Sims results team out on a track at the moment. He's heading in through the Shell S, which is the right-left, before he goes down into the Sashin curve, which is the last corner here on the circuit. What do we think the race is going to be like, Tom? Realistically, where do we see the racing going here this evening?
Well, it's got to be the pit straight into the first chicane, which they'll be navigating their way through, and then it depends on where you really send it. You could send it into the last corner if you've gathered enough momentum. You're into the draft prior to there. You also maybe looking towards the Shell S, where if you get a good enough exit out of the chicane beforehand, you may be able to get alongside before you get through those two particular corners of the racetrack. And the drivers will have gone through the best of their tyres right now. So what you are seeing in terms of the lap times are pretty much going to be as they are. Although we've got a couple of drivers, or a few drivers, who have yet to get times on the board. So Alan Toon, Charles Kellerman and Martin Sampson have still yet to post any valid lap times, so that could maybe change the leaderboard a little bit.
Yeah, no Dan Hunt today. No, I've not seen him in the Discord, and I've not seen him in the race session, Phil. So no Dan Hunt. We are down to 14 drivers. Martin Sampson putting a time on the board, putting himself in 12th on a 1:44.251. Don't forget, guys, as well, if you are here for the first time, like, subscribe, turn on the bells. That would be absolutely amazing. We've got a lot more racing coming up on the JPB YouTube channel. We've got the BSC NASCAR. They're starting their fall season later on this evening as well. And we've got around 8 of a Sebring Sprint Series of a league that will be starting on Thursday morning for all of you in the US. It'll be about, I think it's about 10 p.m. Eastern there as well. Radical Race Series, of course, on Thursday night. TSRC will be back on Fridays. We've got a quiet off day on Saturday, and then Sunday we've got the PEL GT3, OGRL, Tanzo, and the IGP. So a lot going on during that period of time this week as well. So stay tuned for that one. Thanks so much for joining us, and it's going to be a very, very exciting one indeed here. But we've got 4 minutes of quali. This is kind of the lull period, apart from Martin Sampson, who's still got tyres on his car there, Tom. Everybody else kind of done their best laps, we would have thought.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Sampson on the timing page. I mean, on my timing page, it's showing that he is in AM, I believe, but on the timing tower on what the audience are watching on, it's saying that he's in Pro. I don't know if you have anything to maybe say on that, unless I'm actually correct on it.
No, Mike Sampson is a Pro.
Okay, that could just be me thinking of things, but there you go.
No worries. No, we've got Colin Sampson, who's the AM. Martin Sampson is the Pro, as we've got 3 minutes remaining on the clock here. So let's see how these guys get on at Oschersleban. No real improvements going on at the moment. We've still got Pete Newman out in front. He's got Ollie Ricks, who's using him as a bit of a draft here to try and help old Ollie. We should have a chat about Ollie Ricks, really. He's kind of flying this season would be the word for Ollie Ricks.
Yep, I haven't got quite a log of how many class wins he's had, but it's in the double figures in the summer campaign, I can definitely tell you that. But that tells you about his season. You know, we've seen a lot of the time getting in the mix with the pro drivers as well. And that tells you something about where he is at in regards to a driver, actually. I'm a little bit surprised he's not in the pro yet, but that depends on his iRacing rating. So there's specific licenses involved in that, and Ollie Ricks is one of the highest out of all those in the AMs, I think, or he's got 3.13 in the license side of things. But his iRacing rate is 2,316. Colin Sanson's just ahead of him actually on 2,455, and Martin Sampson, who is a pro, is actually on 2,416. So he's in between those two actually. And yeah, that's made it even more confusing for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't, to be honest, I wouldn't worry too much about iRate. You can't worry. It's so hit and miss. You know what I mean? My iRating's shocking if you do official races, because you can end up being caught up in other people's melodramas, and it just all goes wrong. And I think at the end of the day, iRating is something that isn't really relevant. It's what drivers do in the race and in the league that is more relevant to that one. It's like Craig Jones. He's got more iRating than me, but he's a lot slower than I am. So I think at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter with iRating whatsoever. It's more of how you can race in the league and where you're at. Obviously, Ollie Ricks joining this season would start off in AMS in general, and then he would probably stay there for next season unless he chooses to get promoted into pros, and then he will go up. We've got about a minute left in, and Charles Kellerman is there with Martin Sampson in 12 and 13. What do you mean rubbish, Mr. Jones? It's true. It's not my fault you're slower than me, is it? I can't help it. And I'm older than you by about 9 years. So what does that tell you? Shocking. Coming into the last 45 seconds here before we go into the race number 1. Grid set by Quali. Race 2 will be a top 8 reverse, so stay tuned for this. And don't forget, let us know if you got anybody you want to cheer on in the AMS and Pros. I know Phil doesn't always like cheering on anyone because he ends up, unfortunately, they might end up having a little bit of the accidents. So, but if you want to say who's going to win race 1, let me know, and who's going to basically win race 2. How many trophies do you have? Depends. When I was a kid, Craig, I got loads of them for football. And in how many MX500 wins do you have? That's going to be the question. 0. So there we go. Right, so let's bring you up the grid for race number 1 here as we have a battle in YouTube chat. Pete Newman will be on pole with Jamie Ayres in second, Jamie Wilson third, and Roger Morton with Ralph Cullinan. PVG, Steve Hefford, Ollie Ricks, Colin Sanson and Martin Sampson rounding out the row number 5. Then Andy Littler and Fiona Siddons. Then we've got Charles Kellerman and Sir Alan Toon at the back end of the field. Should be an exciting one, guys. Let's settle back. Get your drinks, get your popcorn as always, because it's going to be very, very interesting. Well, he only turns one way. I do only turn one way, generally on the left. So carry on with my NASCARs. So, yeah. I don't like turning right. It gets a little bit confusing, Phil, to be honest, and I end up getting hit into multiple times by multiple different people. So I stay away from that one. However, don't do Daytona this week. It is absolutely chaotic. So stay away from Daytona. That's all I can say if you're running the NIS this week in ovals, because it probably isn't going to turn out too well for you. Pete Newman on pole position. We're just waiting for Pete Van Gaal, Steve Hefford and Martin Sampson as we have a look round Pete Newman's car in his 118 Pure Sims machine. Looking mighty gorgeous, I must be honest. And, well, that's how a car should look before we start the race. What it looks like come the end of it, well, we've seen these cars without any bumpers coming over the line, and well, let's hope we don't see that again as we're waiting for the last two of PVG and Steve Hefford, who are not on the line. PVG is. What about Steve? He hasn't got very long left. There you go. He's jumped on now. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, hold on to your hats, because race one is going to be green very, very shortly. There is the lights. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Round 11, race one from Oschersleban for the UK SimRacers. This green, green, green. Pete Newman takes the whole shot at the moment. Jamie Ayres and Jamie Wilson are side by side currently as they're heading into turn number one, the left-hander. It's going to be Wilson on the outside, Ayres on the inside. Roger Morton trying to make his way through. Now he goes into the left here as well of Hotel. Now they've got the run down into Oschersleban, and it is Pete Newman with the whole shot. Jamie Ayres, Wilson, Morton. There's been a little bit of car swapping at the back here. PVG and Ralph Cullinan side by side. Cullinan should have the inside there. Is he going to be able to make it work? That will be the question. Here he goes now, the Irishman with the Dutchman behind him. He does get the job done, but Pete Newman taking the whole shot here. Tom doing a great job so far.
Yeah, doing everything right from pole position. Pete Newman carrying on the form they had from Mugello 7 days ago. He leads ahead of Jamie Ayres and Jamie Wilson, who's looking to bounce back after, I don't think it was around last week at Mugello, if I remember correctly. But Roger Bond, leader of the AMD so far, ahead of Ralph Cullinan, the Irishman, ahead of the Dutchman, Pete Van Gaal, and Steve Hefford holding P7. And then Ollie Ricks in 8th. He's looking to make him move of his own. And we're right on board with Jamie Wilson going after Jamie Ayres in the round battle. Ricks moving in front of Hefford on the road into P7 further behind. And Pete Newman will be coming around to complete lap one very, very shortly. But he leads coming out of the Shell S, albeit only half a second clear of the rest.
Yeah, you've got Ollie Ricks here with Steve Hefford. They're battling away. There's contact with Hefford and Sanson. Not too sure if Hefford even saw him or if Sanson didn't see him. We're not sure which way round that is, but into the final corner we go on that run up into the start-finish line now. Pete Newman snatches the lead with Ayres, with Wilson, with Morton, with Cullinan, with Van Gaal, Ricks, Hefford, Sanson. He's going to be side by side with Sampson. Going into turn one, yes, Sanson and Sampson. It's not too confusing at all as they go round the left-hander here. Colin Sanson in the green wing-mirrored car, Sampson in the red wing-mirrored car with the red roll bar as these guys continue to fight it out. All very, very close. He's got Wilson, who's got Morton. Morton not giving up very easily here, Mr. Morton, but he has got Ralph Cullinan chucked in behind.
Yeah, Colin wanted to make sure he gets rid of Morton as soon as he can, but there's not really a distinct place to get the overtake done, really, apart from turn number one, which sort of feeds you around the loop section of Hotel. And now he's going to have to sort of bide his time a little bit and just hope maybe for something to happen ahead of him. But he's got a pure Sims car of Morton just holding him back there as they ride over the curves of the chicane, and then a little bit of sun. So using all the curb and then more. So you can see Wilson tucked up behind Ayres. You can see how much the draft is affecting. But the straight is only ever so short, and now they're having to slam on the brakes and riding the curves again.
Yeah, I thought he might have been able to get the move done there. He's now going to have a go around the outside, coming into the right-hander before the final corner. Not this time. Ayres manages to hold on and defends well. What about PVG? He's got Cullinan in front of him there. They're continuing to fight as well. Nose to tail on to the gyro above the wing mirror now for PVG. It's tucked in once again. Is it going to be able to work out here? It's not. Everybody's getting the draft. Cullinan's getting the draft from Morton. Morton's getting it from Wilson. Wilson's getting it from Ayres. Ayres is getting it from Newman, and Newman's not getting it from anyone, but he's managing to hold the front here, Tom. He looks like he's on fire this evening, is Pete Newman. Can we see a 4 out of 4?
Well, it's 4 in 5 actually, because Newman didn't win race 4 in Mugello when it was a wet race. He struggled in the wet, compared to how he did in the dry in the other 3. But it will be a 4th win in 5 if he was to hold on to where he is. Jamie Ayres was the one who ended that 3-race winning streak in Mugello a week ago. And now we're looking at Ralph Cullen, who has won a class race. He's not won an overall race, and that was at Spa, where Ollie Ricks in the AM, in one of the AM's drivers, he's the only driver to have won overall in the AM class.
Oh, big old wiggle. Big old wiggle for Cullinan there through the chicane, through the right-hander. Now he's coming into the Shell S. He's got to go right, got to go left. Wilson again is behind him. Big snap. Big snap from Ralph Cullinan. PVG is off the side of the circuit. He's facing the wrong way. Why are you facing the wrong way, Mr. Pete Van Gaal? Is that because of the Cullinan snap, or was there contact? It looks possibly... Oh, there was contact. PVG gone round. That would explain the steering of Ralph Cullinan. And unfortunately, there was contact between the two, Mr. Ayres and Mr. Wilson. Still as they are through the left-hander of turn 1 coming into Hotel. And it looks a lot sharper on the track map than it actually is in real life. You can carry quite a lot of speed round turn 1 on that run down now into Hasselrode, turn number 2. Wilson still can't get through. It just looks like, Tom, there's just no available space as we break that 10-minute mark.
Yeah, so 5 minutes into this one, or just over there, we're on the 4th lap of this race. Pete Newman still holding his lead. You can see Ralph Cullinan getting out of shape out of the hairpin there of Hasselrode, sorry. And he is got, who's behind Cullinan now? It's Ollie Ricks in the lime green and black liveried MX5. He's racing for the Safeguard by Result Clothing, is that saying?
Yeah.
Well, that tells you about the team names for some of them. But Ollie Rick's doing a super job this season in the summer campaign anyway, and he's going after Ralph Cullinan, who is still holding 5th position overall. But in terms of comparing the two drivers, in my opinion, I would say that Ollie Ricks probably warrants to be in the pro class in comparison to Cullinan.
Well, I don't think you're too far off the truth, but it's obviously where Ricks is at the moment. He sat 5th in the overall championship this season. And I say overall, he's behind Hefford, Wilson, Ayres and Hunt. But I think at the end of the day, as I said, it's because obviously being new into the series this season. And I believe that's why he is where he is, right? He's not, you know, he's got to earn his stripes. We've all got to start at the bottom. I don't jump up and be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company without starting off in the mailroom. You know what I mean? Let's be real about it. You've got to work your way through. And the same situation with Ollie Ricks has got to do the same thing as well. His car reminded me of a sweet I saw the other day in a very traditional sweet shop. It was the green and black humbugs that you used to be able to get. I don't know if anybody's seen them. It didn't taste very nice when I bought one, but I'm just saying that's what the car can remind me of. Sanson is going to put Hefford under pressure. Hefford just had a big slide coming out of turn 2. Sanson's going to have the inside. They're going to stay with it side by side. Hefford's going to try and get the run again. Sanson almost made contact there. It was very, very close. I'm interested to see here. I think Jamie Wilson is playing a very patient game with Ayres in front. He's not really making the move on him, and he's not giving the aggressive body language that I expect from a driver here. Wilson's just kind of almost following the leader. He's almost like a sheep in a field going to get sheared. He's just following Mr. Ayres, and he's not really making any forward inroads, I suppose, onto the back end.
Well, he's not making any inroads at the moment, but Wilson is still staying in touch with as they come onto the pit straight again. We've got just over 6.5 minutes remaining. How are they doing in terms of lap times? Let's just have a look on the timing page that I've got here. So they're doing 1 minute 38s, 1 minute 39s really. And it looks like, given the amount of time we've got left in the race, you're probably looking at around 4 laps, maybe even 5, depending on how quick they get over the line. I would say 4 laps. So we are looking at around about a 9-lap race here in Oschersleban, as Ollie Ricks still tucked up behind Ralph Cullinan in the battle for 5th position overall. And ahead of him is the driver that Ollie Ricks wants to be going for, and that's Roger Moore.
Don't forget they are battling in the championship this season between Morton and Ricks. Morton is currently 94 points behind Ollie Ricks, but obviously any point that he can take away from him will be good points for Roger Morton. Through the left, through the right, they go round now, turn number 5, I believe this will be, as they go running up into the chicane. Ricks again. Do you know what? This circuit so far, and this is why I say to you, some of the racing can be just meh. It reminded me very much of the Hungaroring. It's very follow. I was Super Formula Lights race at the Hungaroring, not Sunday gone, Sunday before, and that was the same thing. And this is so far proving to be the same thing. There isn't many people who have made overtakes. If we bring up the gainers and losers, you can see as Roger Morton just got that all wrong in the background there. And you can see the front 5 haven't placed. The highest placed mover is Ricks up 2, Kellerman up 2. Everybody else is only up 1 or none, depending if obviously whether or not they were behind PVG. And this is what I mean. There's not much going on a race circuit. These guys are trying to battle. Now we start getting movements and motions. Ricks pushing Cullinan up to the back end of Morton there, straight the way through. He backs away from Cullinan. Cullinan does get the job done. He does now start making his way forward. And now is Ricks going to be able to get past? That took 7 laps to get that set up, Tom. I'm just struggling to see here if every overtake is going to take 7 laps. We're not going to see a lot of overtaking.
No, and I think that is going to, play into the hands of those who have done well in qualifying. And it will set up the reverse grid rather interesting. Although Wilson's got through on their second place now. So Wilson through ahead of Ez. That move had been coming all along, but Wilson is finally through.
Yeah, we'll have a look back at that overtake here from Jamie Wilson. Was this all a mistake? No, he tightened the corner up, got the run over Ez. He took the inside line as well. Did Mr. Wilson. He's going to take the inside line away from Ez, let that car open up, let it drift, and he managed to get the job done there and then for Mr. Wilson. I'm sure Ez is not going to give up very easily. Ricks Morton is nose to tail again. Morton's trying to get that position back from Cullinan after being assisted by Mr. Ricks last time out. He pushed him through. Morton makes it through on his own this time, puts another car between him and Ollie Ricks. Through the Shelless they go round the last couple of corners now once more. 3.5 minutes remaining, 1:38 lap times. You're going to see at least 3 more laps here. So let's see what happens with this battle of Morton, Cullinan and Ricks.
So it's coming alive a little bit now with these battles happening. Pete Van Gogh's in the pits. It looked like he had enough for race number 1. Terrible shame because I'd seen many of those non-finishes this season as Pete Van Gogh, so we hope to see his fortunes change, but it doesn't look like it's going to be changing anytime soon. And we've seen Ollie Ricks is now under attack here from Steve Hefford, who wants to get by Ralph Cullinan in the near future.
Yeah, Hefford did not have a great qualifying. We saw him come together with PVG after being, PVG got a little nudge from Mr. Wilson, spun him round. PVG not holding brakes, straight into the front of Steve Hefford as he come around the corner. This 4-car fight now. Battle for the AM lead and a battle for the top 6 overall and the top 5 in pros. And at this moment in time, Ricks is holding his own. Cullinan's in front. Morton's the man who is going to be holding on and trying to stay in front. There's somebody off the side of the circuit that's down in 9th place. I believe that Martin Sampson's had a bit of a moment. Pete Newman there. Jamie Wilson opening up the door from Ez. Morton still can't clear Cullinan. Coming into the chicane again. The right left. It's got to be Morton's got to look at squeezing him a little bit. Cullinan's going to try to cut back if he can get through the chicane. Now go the other way. Carry the speed. It's not going to be done this time for Cullinan. Morton taking again that final line, and it's going to be close if it's going to be the final lap of the race here. It's 140. Doesn't look like Barney's waving this time around, though. To be honest, Tom, it was literally about 2 seconds before the end now.
Yeah, we'll wait and see as they come around next time. But we're going to see the Roger Morton holding up Ralph Cullinan and Ollie Ricks in the battle for 4th place overall. Cullinan just behind there. Those Ricks, there's Hefford and Sanson. Just a little bit further back. Colin Sanson, who's won 6 times in class this season, including Magellan last week. And we've seen Steve Hefford looking to make a move on Ollie Ricks as Ricks run wide.
Yeah, Ricks runs wide coming out of turn 2. Now Hefford's going to try and have that inside line. He's not going to be able to get it done. Cullinan's not going to be able to get past Morton either. It's going to be as they were. The leaders are coming round on the run down into chicane. The second chicane on the circuit, bar the Shell S, of course, which is the one further down. Now Ricks holding Hefford up, completely trying his absolute hardest to stay in front. It's gonna be give or take a few seconds. If Newman drops off a few seconds here, it will be the final lap of the race. It will be the checkered flag as they come over. And now it's what about Newman? Is he going to be able to make this work? That's going to be the question. How far away are they? They're 15 seconds here. This is going to be very, very, very close. He can just, if he backs off just a fraction. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. It's got to be the checker flag. Is that near about? No, it is. Oh, that is going to be a 9-10 race all the way through this evening there, Tom, because he crossed over the line with barely a second on the clock.
Yeah, so that buys a little bit more time for this battle that we're watching with Morton, Ricks, Cullinan, Hefford and Sanson all in there. So there's another battle going on further behind between Killerman and Lickler. Oh, no, Ricks round the outside. That was a super overtake on Roger Morton. And crucially, that's the class win coming his way.
Yeah, Morton did get jumped there as well. Great run from Ollie Ricks. He passed literally Steve Everett, Ralph Cullinan and Roger Morton all on one straight, all before the going into turn 1. Is he going to be able to hold on to it now as well? Newman's got Wilson closing in. The gap's teetering on a second currently at this moment in time. But Roger Morton, you've got work to do, son, and I can tell you why. You've got Ricks in front. You've got a fast charging Hefford behind, and it's all about hanging on to this second place. Ricks could wrap up another win in the AMS. Another win in the AMS. That was literally, that will be 2 on the bounce from last week. That will be 4 wins in the last 5 races for Ollie Ricks, the same as Pete Newman, who looks a dead cert to be coming over the line for that pro win.
What a win as well it'll be, but this battle is far from over, James, as Morton looks to the outside of Ricks into the Shellas for the last time, but he goes in too deep there and now has to watch out for Hefford and Cullinan, but wants to go to the leaders as Pete Newman is about to take victory.
The winner, chicken dinner, Mr. Pete Newman comes over, he wraps it up in race 1. Jamie Wilson, that's your 1, 2, 3. What's going to happen in the Pro-Ams? It looks like Ollie Ricks has got it. Oh, Sanson pushing too hard on the final lap. Ricks takes the win. Morton grabs second place. And Sanson, is he going to hold on to third? Is he going to be pushed over the line by Martin Sampson? No, but Sanson does hold on there as well. So a great opening first race. That timer is gonna be a killer this evening, partly because he crossed over the line with barely any time whatsoever remaining. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on there.
Yeah, so at least he's got the job done there as Pete Newman. The 4th win in the last 5 races. And it doesn't look like he's going to stop right there. Can he recover all of what he had lost in the rounds before Magello with so much misfortune go for him? Now he's looking to put that right in the remaining races in the summer campaign. Time to look down on the race results of race number 1.
Pete Newman out in first place. Jamie Wilson second with Jamie Ayres in third. That's your 1, 2, 3 of pros. Ollie Ricks wrapping up another win in the AMS with Roger Morton in second. Steve Hefford and Ralph Cullinan separating the AM podium with Colin Sanson in 8th place. Martin Sampson in 9th. Then you got Charles Kellerman, Andy Littler and Fiona Siddons 10th, 11th and 12th with Sir Alan Toon in 13th. And PBG down in 14th place. Top 8 reverse, that's going to put Colin Sanson on pole position alongside Ralph Cullinan. So that's going to be a very, very interesting one. 5 minutes remaining, guys. Don't forget, let us know who you're rooting for in the YouTube chat as well. Craig Jones, jealous much? Never competed, he said. That's because he's been old. He wouldn't have been able to sit there for 4.5 hours doing the MX500 at Martinsville. So that would be why there. Craig, unfortunately, is on the upper side of life and is not able to sit still long enough to compete in something that is so brain taxing. AAA, let's go. Welcome in. I hope you are well here as well. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, that was good of race 1. Race 2 is going to be very, very interesting indeed.
I should think so as well. And an opportunity for, say, Steve Hefford on... No, it's not Steve Hefford. It's who's on reverse grid? Colin Sanson, yeah. So that is going to be quite something for him. He's got 6 class wins already. This campaign's got a chance of going for a 7th on a track that is difficult to overtake on. I would say he's got a fair chance of clinching an AM victory.
Well, there you go. Let's see how he gets on. I won the MX500 as well. See, Craig, that's 2 winners. One's a commentator and one's a driver. Go Darryl Wright. Let's give Darryl a big old love from Darryl right there as well. As that's 2 of us this evening who won the MX500 iRacing special event. My plan was to be only in the race for an hour because I didn't think I was going to last that long considering I was in VR. 4.5 hours later, still in VR, mind you, I come through from the back of the field. I started 34th, I believe, and finished in 1st place. And I only had 20x, which isn't that bad, considering some of them had, well, considerably more. I did have a few close calls, of course. So there you go. If Darryl can win it, all that proves is anyone can win it. Craig Jones, you do not like giving props where props is due, do you? You sit at home with your 4 made-up trophies, and you don't come out and put your money where your mouth is, Mr. Jones. Typical there as well. Typical. Right, race 2 coming up, top 8 reverse. So let's see how this one gets on. 192 laps. Gee, you had less than me, Darryl. I had 201. I think it was 201 or 220 laps under caution. So there we go. It was mental. Ollie's now a pro. I miss a memo? No, I don't believe you did. Colin Sanson, as far as I'm aware, he's still an AM. I haven't been told any different. I haven't seen any different announcement unless you know something I do not.
Well, we'll see if he ends up being a pro for 2025 once the Autumn campaign is more or less done. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if he does actually end up being a pro because I think he warrants his place there.
Yeah, I don't agree. I don't agree. Sorry. I don't disagree with that. I think at the end of the day, it'll be whether or not, as the winner of the AM season, I think he gets the choice on whether or not he wants to go up. Definitely a pro in the rain. I agree. Yeah. Well done, Darryl. Where's mine, Colin? I won the MX500 as well. And I'm a commentator. I did better than some other drivers I did. Ollie is in pro, since he is still on the score sheet as an AM. He is still on the summer score sheet as an AM. And he's still in the overall summer score sheet as an AM. So I don't get where you're all getting it from. I've not seen Mr. Ayres tell me he is a pro in any shape or form. So, you know, I'm just saying, he's still on the score sheet as an AM. Still in the summer as an AM, still on the overall as an AM, and as far as I'm concerned, until I get told otherwise, Ollie Ricks is still an AM. So, yeah, thank you, Fiona, for jumping in. But I do agree, Craig, definitely a pro in the rain. He is absolutely mental in the rain here as well. Race 2. Do we think Pete Newman's going to come through the field and win the race?
I can't say that he will this time, unfortunately. He's going to be too far back unless we see an almighty catastrophe up ahead. He's going to find it very, very difficult.
Okay, well, let's find out. Race 2 going to be up and running very, very shortly. We'll bring you up the grid once it swaps over, as Roger will do donuts and then disappears. And we'll wait for the grid for race number 2. Don't forget top 8 reverse, and we will go from there. Colin Sanson is your pole man, Ralph Cullinan in 2nd, Steve Hefford in 3rd, Roger Morton in 4th. Then you got Ollie Ricks, Jamie Ayres, and Jamie Wilson 4, 5, 6, and 7. Pete Newman is in 8th, top 8 reverse. Martin Sampson 9th, Charles Kellerman, Andy Littler, and Fiona Siddons. Alan Toon and PVG bring up the last of the runners. Colin Sanson is on the grid, so he is sitting there as well, ready to go. Just waiting for Jamie Ayres to get on to the grid here before we get the lights going. Lights are going to be coming on very, very shortly. There is Colin there. There are the lights. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lights out. Race 2. Green, green, green here of round 11 of the UK SimRacers MX5 Season 2 of 2024. Sanson's got an escape. Hefford's moved into second. Cullinan's trying to come into third there. Is he going to be able to make it? Hefford goes on the brake. Sanson's slow. They're checking up all the way through the field. There was contact, I believe, with Roger Morton in the middle. Pete Newman's moved up. No places. Morton's down 3. Did not get that car off the line. How long can Callan Sanson hold on into turn number 2? Very, very slow. Hefford's behind him in second. Rick's behind that. Then Cullinan. Wilson. Ayres is here as well. The 14th place man. Andy Littler has gone off the side of the circuit. But Colin Sanson holding the whole shot here, Tom. But for how much longer?
Yep, that'll be the £1 million question from here until the checker flag. He's got a bit of a nice cushion actually over Hefford at this stage of the race, so he's doing a fine job so far. He'll want to try and go for an overall win if he can, and that'll boost his points total very, very nicely. But what about Ollie Riggs? Because he sat behind Steve Hefford at this stage. Does he decide to go for it now, or does he decide to sit back?
I don't really know, to be honest. It depends on what Hefford does. Hefford's looked quick here this evening. Newman, Wilson and Morton side by side. Wilson's just lost that place to Newman. Is he going to lose it to Morton as well? He's not. Morton can't get through. Rick's alongside Steve Hefford. Yowza. As they're going into the second to last corner now for the last one as well. That was very, very close from Ollie Ricks.
Yep. As they're coming around to complete the first lap, with Sanson in the lead ahead of Hefford, Ricks, Cullinan and Ayres. Anything thinking about going for a move at Hotel? Well, you can see Cullinan defending from Ayres as Ayres looks to the outside here, and you can see Cullinan trying to find a way through there, but Ayres is alongside, and I think Ayres has got the place from the Irishman.
Yeah, job done from Ayres there. Welshman overtakes the Irishman, and then we go to Ollie Ricks, the Englishman, who's got Hefford in front. Will Sanson Story still holding on. Wilson's at the back of the group. There's not a lot of gap between the whole field here. 7 seconds from front to back, and they're all very, very close in the mix. You've got Morton all over the back of Wilson. You can see the train of cars here. This is close racing, Tom. This is how the MX5 should be raced, and this hopefully will lead to some more overtakes at Oschersleban.
Well, I should think so. The drivers are just settling into a rhythm here. You can see Roger Morton in 8th position. Overall, he's gone way far off the circuit there, and I don't think the driver ahead of him, Jamie Wilson, had a good exit either. In fact, he's letting him go here, look.
Yeah, Roger Morton there. Wilson's in behind him. Did Wilson must have... Did he give himself a little bit of an issue there, did Jamie Wilson? He just runs wide. Was there contact, or did he just lose positions? He's on the grass. But it looks like he just kind of got muscled out there by quite a few cars.
I've just seen it back, and your stream may be a little bit ahead of mine, but we've just seen Wilson just not really getting the best of exits out of the chicane. But now back to the battle between Sanson and Hefford. Hefford all over the back. You just see Sanson braking earlier, and I think Hefford has just had a little tap from Ayres behind.
Yeah, but is that really unexpected considering how close they are? Look at the gap. There's barely 2 seconds back to Wilson in 9th place. Oh no, not in front of everybody! Oh! Was that contact from Hefford on Wilson? Yes! Oh, yeah, man.
That is completely Hefford's fault all day long. Colin Sanson will be absolutely furious with him after that. You can see Hefford pulling to the side, and it looks like his race is done. And Ralph Cullinan picks up damage, and it looks like he's gone back into the pits as well.
Yeah, well, Cullinan definitely had damage there. We saw bits of his car go flying everywhere. for Ralph Cullinan, unfortunately, but Ayres now takes the lead with Newman and Ricks. Newman up into second place. Morton finds himself behind Ollie Ricks again, with Martin Sampson behind that and Wilson in behind that. PVG tucked in there, Charles Kellerman in behind, and Andy Littler Sanson. Sanson's got off again, Tooney's just gone through, Siddons is chasing at this moment in time, but a lot happening in this pack here, and poor old Colin Sanson's going to be kicking himself.
Starting their fourth lap here. Ayres has got a nice lead already on Newman, with Ricks and Morton in their own battle. Martin Sampson trying to make up for lost time after a rather mixed first race. There's a tap there from Pete Van Gull on Jamie Wilson, and Sampson has made a mistake at hotel and he's lost the place to Wilson, and now it looks like he's going to lose another to PVG.
Yeah, PVG's gone through, Wilson's gone through. Sampson now behind in 7th place. Ayres has got Newman, and Newman is closing quick here. He is closing down on Jamie Ayres very, very quickly. Can he get this second win of the night? Can we see a first 4 out of 4?
I don't know. I think Newman's got some work to do. I mean, Ayres determined to go for his second win in the last 3 races, and maybe close down a little bit on the arrears of Dan Hunt, who has been by far the driver of the season. But these two are looking to give chase. Another point to make is that the worst 2 rounds are dropped to each driver in each season of the whole year, if that makes sense. So 10 out of the 12 rounds of the summer campaign will apply to the driver's total in the championship standings.
Yeah. You are right. So, well done. Martin Sampson in there with PVG. Tucked in now. We've got 2.4, 2.8 over the front 7. A lot of people have made positions due to the fact that Colin Sanson's down 10, Hepford's down 10, and Cullinan's down 12. But we saw what happened to them. PVG is up 8 here, capitalising a lot on the people disappearing. Whoa, Martin Sampson, where you going? What? How did that even remotely happen for Martin Sampson there? Did he just cook it going into hotel, Tom?
Well, looking at where he's already lost it. He was already losing it into the corner.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's quite a big whack though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. His car's, well, yeah, it's broken. Let's be real. Morton's now got Wilson. He's got a second to Ricks. So Ricks is kind of escaping away again here. And he's another man that could be on a 2 out of 2 this evening.
Well, Roger Morton's in a nice battle with Jamie Wilson here. They are, I think they're in different teams, these two. You can see Morton in the Pure Sims and Jamie Wilson in the team...
Chimera.
Say that. Chimera, yeah.
Yeah, Team Chimera livery machine there for Wilson. As he's going to try and now go. Is he? Nope. Tucks in behind Mr. Morton. Through the shell S they go. He's got a lot better run now. He could have done without Morton running wide there. Morton's going to try and close him up around the outside. Wilson's going to... Wow, Wilson just literally took the nose off that man. Going through the entrance into the penultimate corner. Great move from Wilson. So aggressive.
Very, very aggressive, but he needed to make that work. And that's about who is going to be brave around the outside. And clearly Wilson was brave enough to send one in there. And now it looks like PVG is looking to make a move of his own into turn number 1. That was a much easier overtake that he has had to do than what
Newman and Ayres.
Yeah.
Newman's got the lead. 6 minutes on the clock. Newman got the job done going round hotel. He's now sitting here in the lead. Rick sitting in the lead of the arms. Wilson coming in closing. PVG up 9 places for Pete Van Gull. Morton's trying to be dragged along by PVG, really, because I don't know if it's the way the circuit or the makeup of race number 2 here, but Morton just doesn't look like he's quite on the pace this evening.
No, and he's losing ground all the time, and it's playing into the hands of Ricks more and more and more. And you can just see Ayres getting well out of shape of the chicane, and Ollie Ricks is determined to just take advantage and go through here, and he's through. So Ayres lets him through here, and he's got to make sure he doesn't let Wilson through at the same time.
Yeah. He lost that place. I'm wondering if that was a little bit of a slowdown on Jamie Ayres, because I think he's going to lose that place to Wilson. Don't think he's going to get it off quick enough. Wilson gives him room, mind you. Ayres is looking at coming back up. He does. There's a little bit of rear to front contact with Ayres and Wilson's car there. PVG tucked in. Sanson and Tooney. Sanson's trying to go around the outside of Alan Toon. That's very, very brave, with Siddons also making the moves on the inside as well. Alan Toon, careful, she's there. Oh, gee whiz, Batman. I thought Tooney was going to shut the door on him then.
Well, luckily they kept pointing the cars in the right way, although Siddons and Soon still going at it at the last corner. And Soon, for once, is actually having to fight this one for all he can.
Yeah, Alan Toon having a right little ding-dong with Fiona Siddons down here as well. Go, Sir Alan. Give it some as he's coming into turn one, into the hotel. Can he hold it in front of Siddons? Through they go. Soon a bit later. There, gets the drive off. He's just got to try and stay with Wilson now as Alan Toon. Great little battle with him and Siddons. Littler, Sampson, Hefford and Cullinan all in the pit so far. And Siddons still not being able to get past on Mr. Alan Toon. Doing a great job. Oh, Tooney. Oh, he manages to hold it, but a great job from him. Wilson's now up behind Ayres. Ricks has cleared Ayres. He's setting after Newman. Newman's 1.3 out in front. Wilson's running side by side with Ayres, and this should be another 3 laps, but it depends on their lap time.
Yep, so they're going to go through the Shell S once more, and who's going to come out on top on this occasion? Well, PVG won't do so if he continues running wide like that. Wilson fancying a go on it as they head into the last right-hander before the pit straight. Littler just going back out onto the circuit. We want to try and get some points by finishing. But look, it's looking like Wilson is fancying it with Ayres for second place in class here.
Jamie is there with his Momo livery driver suit on. Great job from him, chasing down Mr. Ricks, who's got Mr. Wilson behind Mr. Ayres. So let's see how this goes. That's a back marker in front of us. That is level place Andy Littler. Martin Sampson's in YouTube chat making a list of excuses along the lines of don't know this track. Well, you've had 2 hours practice before qualifying, Mr. Sampson. I'm sorry. You could have got some work in. But there you go. Ollie Ricks doing a stunning job here. 2 minutes 30 on the clock. Again, I think this is going to be meteorically close here, with whether or not Newman gets this over the line before the 140. He's only got 36 seconds to get it over the line.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, we've had changes of leaders throughout this one, James, so it might just be one more lap, although we see Ayres running wide again. Now, hopefully, did he rejoin safely back onto the circuit? We'll have a look to see where he is at.
Yeah.
And it looks like, yeah, well, in fact, he's on the tail of Ollie Ricks now.
Yeah, what we got? 10 seconds? 11 seconds? Not even that. It's at 1:39. This is going to be the final lap of the race this time.
Yeah, there should be the white flag being waved.
Yeah, it's going to be 9 or 10 laps this evening. And if it's raining, it's going to be less than that as we'll go on to the final lap. Wilson now, you can see that's one of the back markers. That's Andy Littler moving over. And Ricks has got Ayres tucked in. Don't forget Ricks leading the AM fight again in this championship so far. Ayres is going to try and push up the inside. Wilson wants to follow Ayres through as well. Round hotel they go, coming into the left-hander. Now of turn 2, Ricks is going to be on the outside. Does he need to fight these? Tom, does he need to fight them? Because he's still got another pro between him and Morton.
Well, he doesn't really need to battle, but I'm sure he'll want to give it a good go for the sake of preparing himself for next year, should he decide to want to be a pro. And I think if he was a pro, I think we'd be seeing more from Ricks than what we've seen, because it shows that he's perhaps become too good for the Anfield.
I don't know if it's... Yeah. Maybe, but I still think that the likes of Morton can take it to him. Kellerman can take it to him. Sanson can take it to him. You know, they've all got wins this season. So there's no reason why they can't fight with him. I think at the moment in time, Ollie Ricks is just got the bit between his teeth and is absolutely flying. But he's got Wilson behind him for the coming into the second to last corner now. Pete Newman going to wrap 2 out of 2 in the pros here. And Ricks looks like he's going to wrap 2 out of 2 in the AMs, but the man's going to come over the line. He's going to take the second race of the evening in the pros. It's Mr. Pete Newman. He does take the job. Ollie Ricks grabs the win in the AMs, loses the place to Wilson at the end. That's not going to matter. Morton gets second place again in 2 races for Mr. Morton, and Charles Kellerman comes over the field for third. Now Tooney and Siddons, it looks like Siddons has just got the jump on Alan Toon. Toon's going to try to tie a line. It's going to be a run down to the line here. Tooney loses it coming out of the last corner. Great job from Sir Alan Toon there. Gave it a good old go and just couldn't make it work. But here are the results. It's going to be Pete Newman, your winner, with Jamie Ayres and Jamie Wilson. That's your 1, 2, 3 in the pros. Then you got Ollie Ricks wrapping up the AM win once more. PVG taken in 5th place. Roger Morton, Charles Kellerman, the final podium positions in the AMs. Stanton probably not going to be too happy about the way race 2 went, as unfortunately there was contact with Steve Hefford. Siddons in 9th, Alan Toon 10th, Littler in 11th. Then you got Sampson, Hefford and Cullinan behind. All right, guys, we're going to go on for a short break. We will be right back very, very shortly. Okay, guys, we are back for race number 3 and 4. Don't forget, complete random reverse for race number 3. So we'll keep an eye and see who is on pole position for that one. Steve Pefford is leading the way in this practice session at this moment. Excuse me. As I sneeze there. Leading away, but we should be advancing into race number 4 very, very shortly. It's going to be a very interesting one here. Very, very exciting. Some great racing, Tom, we've seen over races 1 and 2.
Absolutely. So a lot of overtakings still happening, despite how notorious this track is for overtaking, particularly the battles that we saw towards the front of the field. And now they look forward to see how the randomized grid changes things. And if we have like the vast majority, that's going to make for a more interesting race 3. And do we have a reverse grid for race number 4?
We do. Top 11 reverse grid for race number 4. So top 11 reverse there. Should be very, very exciting indeed. That's going to be most of the field, I believe, this evening will be on the reverse grid. So we'll just wait for them to forward the session on for the next one as well. Don't forget, if you are still here, thank you so much for joining us. Martin Sampson jumped on when qualifying started. Well, there you go, sir. If you're not going to get practice in, then what can I say about that? I have tons of practice. No, you don't, Craig. You've got tons of excuses, but that's about it. Being the favourite one, he got lost. Well, if anybody doesn't realise what Craig is talking about, he is the only man to get lost at Silverstone. He went completely the wrong way on the course and got lost, unfortunately. So I've never seen it before in my life, but Craig Jones managed it, Tom.
Well, when you say went round the wrong way, is in the wrong way round whilst racing, or one way round as in walking around the circuit?
No, while racing, he was in pole position and led half the field round the wrong way of Silverstone. I know, don't. He's the only man that's managed it, literally. He completely missed out a whole chicane at one of the circuits. I can't even remember which one it was on. And he missed out, complete part of Silverstone and led half the field round the wrong way.
How bizarre.
Yeah, I know. Even the commentators were stumped. And it wasn't even me, because I would have given him a lot more grief if he had, if it was me. But yeah, even the commentators were a bit lost and not sure which way he was actually going completely, to be honest. But Jamie Ayres has gone the wrong way as well. Round this way circuit, and facing that way coming out of turn 2 is not a good idea. He was practicing for a reverse race. Well, yeah, reverse round it's like he was doing Knockhill International the first race and then did Knockhill reverse for the second race, Phil. He completely got lost, mate. Completely. So, yeah, only Craig Jones can manage that one, really, unfortunately for him. But, yeah, very, very interesting indeed. But, Mr. Sampson, why are you not using this time to practice as well, dear sir?
Well, I'll let you two have your own discussion perhaps afterwards. But the more I hear about Craig coming in with his points, it makes me think, why is he not on the racetrack?
He had a bit of a dilemma in his dining room. The ceiling collapsed. And he had stuff go everywhere. So, yeah, that'd be why he isn't racing, because he's not got his ceiling repaired as of yet. So, yeah, his rig's not set up because he had to take it apart because his ceiling collapsed in on him. So there we go. Not good, but there we go. What can you ask for? What more can you say?
So we're waiting for this practice session to finish off. We're not going to go all of the 9 minutes that are remaining. It will end rather abruptly before we get race number 3 underway. We don't know what the randomised grid is going to be as of yet, but we'll find out sooner rather than later who will be on reverse grid pole. I mean, if it's Ollie Ricks, he'll take it. And I'm sure he'll want to try and win overall if he can and pull away from the rest of the pack. If it ends up being Sat Allen or Fiona Sins, like we have seen before, then who knows what could happen. But if it ends up being one of the pro drivers, i.e. Jamie Ayres or Jamie Wilson or Pete Newman, who's won 5 of the last 6 races now, then it could end up being a foregone conclusion.
It could, and I'm hoping it doesn't, but we will find out very shortly, I suppose, on that one. As I say, hopefully just waiting for these guys to get to advance the session, and then we will be up and running, and hopefully race 3 will be on the go. So keep an eye out, as hopefully we're not going the full 8 minutes, because that will be a rather long one. Don't you worry, my talent will be back on track soon. I don't know about that, Craig. If talent comes, you can't put you and talent in the same sentence, Mr. Jones. Just saying for that one. Good job I know you outside of this, isn't it, really? You know what I mean? And speak to you and daily. Otherwise people would think we're having a beef. But yeah, who are we waiting for? Why are we not advancing this session? Seems a bit strange. It's normally advanced by now. Why is...
Steve Hafford is on circuit, just waiting to... Well, he's trying to get some more mileage in. Martin Sampson has done some mileage after what's been a very disappointing evening so far for him.
Well, we'll wait patiently here as well. We would have advanced by now, but let's see. 6 minutes on the clock. Hopefully this will be the occasion where it starts advancing forward into the first race. Waiting for Mick Barry. Is Mick joining, Darryl? Hasn't been here for race 1 and 2. I'm just a bit confused why he's... Oh, the session has advanced, so maybe he's not making it. Right, let's bring you up the grid for race number 3. They have advanced it, so I'm guessing he's not making it. And it's Fiona Siddons on pole position. Jamie Ayres alongside Martin Sampson and Ollie Ricks 3rd and 4th. Then Pete Newman, Ralph Cullinan, Sir Alan Toome, Roger Morton, Steve Hefford, Jamie Wilson, PVG and Andy Littler. Then we've got Colin Sanson and Charles Kellerman further down the order. The lights are going to be coming on very, very shortly as we're going to be getting up and running and underway. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Race 3 is green, green, green. Here as Siddons takes the whole shot on that run down into turn 1 once more. Fiona Siddons leads away with Jamie Ayres in 2nd, Sampson in 3rd. Then you've got Ricks and Newman alongside each other again. This has been the 3rd race in a row. Ollie Ricks and Pete Newman. Morton's in side by side with Cullinan in the background. Hefford and Wilson, Tooney, PVG, Littler, Sampson and also Kellerman. Oh, Siddons has gone round. Oh, into Cullinan, into Morton. Oh,
that is really, really terrible to see. And yeah, Cullinan, another race where he's not going to finish.
Yeah. Siddons goes round applying the power onto the curb. Oh, there was contact with Ayres. Goes round Cullinan and Morton. Gets caught up in that incident. Cullinan's jumped back to the pits. Morton's gone back to the pits as well. Ayres is now freed up to take the lead with Newman in 2nd, Sampson 3rd, Ricks in 4th, Hefford, Fangall, PVG, Sampson, Wilson, the next group, then Alan Toone, Andy Littler, Charles Kellerman and Fiona Siddons down the back end of the field here as well. Where have we seen Jamie Ayres in the lead with Pete Newman chasing him?
Well, too often. It's either of these two that have been winning races in recent rounds, hasn't it? But Pete Newman will be chasing after Jamie Ayres, as he did so in the 2nd race, but it's not going to be easy now that Ayres is already leading and Newman is the one giving chasing. And just see Ollie Ricks going for it on Martin Sampson into the last corner, and he didn't quite get the move done there, and behind him there is Steve Hefford and PVG.
Yes, Ricks is there. Thompson's there, Evans there. Wilson and Sanson side by side coming down into turn 1. In the background there, just about seeing Wilson does manage to hold on. Ricks didn't clear Sampson either. What is the gap of back to front? But to the end, it's 21 seconds because we know what happened to Siddons, but it's not much between first and sixth. 3.6 seconds, 1.7 up the front. Siddonson, unfortunately, goes into the pit lane. Ricks tries the inside of Hefford. Hefford goes around the outside. Job done for him. Once more, PVG with a big old slide. Can Newman catch up to Ayres? That's surely going to be the point of the evening.
Well, that should be his main target now. No, he's not having to worry about Martin Sampson, although Sampson's closer to Newman than Newman is to Ayres. Newman needs to get on with this if he was to keep his clean sweep on for this evening, something which he couldn't quite do last week. And that's another thing, could a wet race spice things up for later on in race 4?
Yes, absolutely, it can. It depends if we get a wet race in race 4, of course. We will just have to find out and see. But at the moment, Newman 1.6 seconds back. Wilson's here with PVG. PVG's with Ricks. Ricks is with Hefford. Hefford's with Sampson, and they're still fighting it out. Sanson in the background with Sir Allerton, Littler, and Kellerman. Kellerman will be on pole if it stays where it is for race number 4. And Ayres 1.6 seconds. I would say it's closing, but it's not really coming down at the moment.
No, it's not. It's only like 1.6. The gap is stagnating right now. And Newman needs to crack on here. Ralph Cullinan has rejoined the race because he knows that if any more drivers drop out, he could be the one on reverse grid pole later on.
Yeah, it could well be. But he's going to have to overtake a couple of people in the process if they do drop out. And he's got to complete more laps than the people he is behind. So basically what that means is if Littler, for instance, drops out but he completes 7 laps, Cullinan, who's 2 laps back, has got to complete 7 laps, which by that point will be 9 laps, which could end up being the end of the race, as we've seen in race number 2. So it's going to be very, very close again on the time. We think it might be 9, but we'll have to see whether or not it could be 10 here. And we will try and keep our eyes well peeled for that one, as Steve Hefford is now chasing down Martin Sampson with 10 minutes to go.
Hefford all over the back of Sampson, so it's a pro 1, 2, 3 and 4. Ollie Ricks, the highest of the AMs in 5th, has won both AM races so far tonight, increasing his mammoth total for the season. I'll have to go back and find out how many class wins he's had, but it's more than a dozen. I can tell you that. And Sir Alan Toon has gone round in the background, or unless he's just run wide at the Shell S just to allow Littler and Kellerman through. So Alan Toon is yet to finish on a class podium so far this season. Now, just for your information, Sir Alan Toon is in his 70s, so that explains why his pace is as it is. But credit to Sir Alan. He's done a terrific job with what he's doing, and he's enjoying himself. That's the most important thing.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Tooney will be sat there smiling his head off, to be honest. He loves his racing. It doesn't matter where he is. He absolutely loves his racing. He hit 71 this year. Wilson and PVG fighting out as well. There is PVG, and he's going to have the inside line here for going into the turn now. Left-hander. Double left-hander. PVG still got the inside. Wilson's now going to have the inside for the right-hander. Is he going to be able to hold it? It looks like he is for Jamie Wilson. Job done for him. Great move from him as he gets that job done through the triples, coming out the other side there as well. Into the chicane. Now around the right-hander. Down the Stadion Garage. Straight before they go into the Shell S. Newman has closed right up here behind Wilson. This is where the battle's going to kick in. This is where it's going to commence. And this is where the Warriors are going to shine through. Depends on who will come out on top.
Yep. And you can see Newman all over that. Remember, the gap was like 1.6 seconds a couple of laps ago. Now it's down to around about half a second, with it shrinking when Newman is in the draft on Ayres on the pit straight. So they're coming around now to complete their 4th lap out of either 9 or 10. Newman will probably hope that it will be a 10-lap race to give himself more time to get the move done on Ayres for the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. I do fully agree. It's whether or not Newman can get the gap down. Ayres goes a little bit wide around turn 1, round the hotel. That brings Newman literally within 2 tenths going into turn 2 now. Round the left-hander, Newman still tucked in the blue, white and yellow pure Sims machine over the red and black of Ayres in the Momo car. Sampson still hanging on. Hefford's cleared Ricks. Ricks has got Wilson behind, and Wilson has got PVG behind that. So we've got Momo in, all 3 Momos within the top 7 here, but Newman now trying to close it in again. Coming up into the chicane, the right-left, it's Pete Newman. There's the chicane in front of us, still trying to clear as much as possible. Ayres goes through the right-hander, down the Stadion Garage they go before they go into the Shell S, the right-left, then round the penultimate corner here, but it is Pete Newman tucked in right behind. Sampson's got cars spreading out across the racetrack behind him, queuing up here. Wilson, Ricks, is Wilson going to get it over Ricks? He does, round the outside, yes. Wilson clears him. PVG gives him a little nudge on the way through, but with poor old Ollie Ricks lost 2 places in that fight there, Tom, and now drops all the way down to lead of the AMs, but in 7th place.
Yeah, so he's not just settle for where he is at now and just focus on remaining in front of Lynn Sanson, and he can do that by remaining in the draft of PVG. Now, Sanson's run about 5 seconds behind Ricks, but this is the battle we want to be focusing on now, as Newman aims for 3 wins out of 3 this evening, with Jamie Ayres the only man standing in between him and that particular accolade.
3 out of 3 for Newman will be absolutely amazing. Depends what he's going to get out the top 11 reversal race 4, of course. He will end up being in 11th place, but he's battling with Ayres. 6 minutes on the clock. Round the right hand, the left-hander they go of the Hassan Broda coming into the triples. It's a triple left-hander. There's one part of it. There's the next part of it. Here's the last part of it before they go left now here again. Newman again tucked in, still as he was. Then Sampson, then Hefford, then Wilson, then PVG, then Ricks and Colin Sanson behind him, but it is all about Newman. Now round the right-hander onto the Stadium Garage they go before again into that Shell S. It's still Newman where he is. He just can't seem to close up enough here, Tom. He just can't seem to be able to get past Jamie Wilson on track at the moment.
No, he's struggling behind these PVG. I don't think we're seeing too much of him fighting towards the front anyway. Meanwhile, we've got Newman still all over the back of Ayres, and now we've got a battle between Hefford and Wilson for 4th place. Wilson trying to find his way through on Hefford, and it won't be too long before we see him make a move. Ralph Cullinan is only 7 seconds behind Siddons, so if he can get in front of Siddons, that'll put him within 1 position of a possible, and I do seriously mean possible, reverse grid pole for later on.
Yeah, depends if anything happens. The 2 people in front of him, but they've got to happen now. I can tell you that. Wilson's going up the inside, coming into hotel. He's going to, you're going to get a slowdown. Steve Evans surely is going to not only get an off track, but he's going to get a slowdown for that one. He's taken a big old lump. He gets tapped behind from PVG. Now they're running 2 by 2. Wilson and Ricks, Hefford and Pete Van Gogh. Now they go round the corner. Hefford still manages to hold on. How did he not get a slowdown coming through turn 1? He literally cut the inside of the corner. How did he survive in that one, Steve Hefford? Newman's cleared Ayres. Newman has cleared Jamie Ayres eventually, and this is how it's done. They're getting Newman. They got it all a little bit wrong. We were looking at the gap behind, but this is how Newman did it. And then he takes the inside line. Job done for Pete Newman over Jamie Ayres. So Newman leads once again. Ayres now half a second back. Sampson's breaking away. He's in that no man's land. He's between the front 2 and ahead of the back 4 behind him. And at the moment, he's just not making inroads either way. 3 minutes 38 on the clock. 1 minute 40 lap time. That should give us about 3 minutes 25 if they get over the line, which they're not going to do here, Tom. I think it's going to be 1 and 1 more.
Yeah, so I would say 2 laps to go at the end of this one as Pete Newman gets over the line. When does he cross over the line? With 3 minutes and 14 seconds to go. So yeah, it'll be 2 more laps in this one for Pete Newman to hold on for his 3rd win in a row, repeating what he did last week at Mugello. And you can see that Wilson has swapped places with PVG there for a moment, but they're still in the top 6. And Ollie Ricks is looking good for another class victory in the AMS. So it's going to be 3 from 3 for Newman and 3 from 3 for Ricks.
Yeah, 3 for 3 from the both of them. Pete Newman and Ollie Ricks as well, as long as they could just hold it on. What's happening down in 11th here with poor old Sir Alan Toon? He's had a bit of a moment as him. Wilson has got PVG there. And there goes Wilson as they go through the triple. Now they through the left-hander. Now they're going to duck through the right-hander. And it is going to still be Wilson out in front. It does look like Ricks is going to settle where he is here, Tom. No real need from Ollie Ricks to push this any further. I think for him, he's quite happy where he is.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And looking at where the AMs are in the field, this is going to shape up for a very, very interesting race number 4. And we don't know what the weather is going to produce either. In most races, we have seen a wet race. Well, in most rounds, we do see a wet race, but there's been 1 or 2 which we've seen all the races being dry. Jamie Ayres isn't really putting that much pressure on Newman, is he? So he looks consigned to another 2nd place finish.
Yeah, it's going to be whether or not Hefford can hold on from Sampson can hold on from Hefford for this final lap, and whether or not Wilson's going to get Hefford here as well. They're going to be coming into turn 1 once more, into the left-hander, then into Hotel, and through he goes round the right, gets the job done, and through Ryan Sampson he's holding on, but it's going to be very, very close here because both of the guys behind do look quick here at this race circuit.
They do look very quick indeed, and we're seeing Hefford under attack there from Wilson, but he's also got a fight with Martin Sampson for the final podium position. And Hefford running wide on the exit of the hairpin of the Hasselrode.
Wilson's gone through, and Hasselrode, he got the job done, did Wilson. Made the most of Hefford running wide through the triples. He got the job done. Now Hefford's going to be on the inside coming into the right-hander chicane. Wilson's going to be there as well. Hefford gives him room. Wilson takes that spot away. Wilson sits in 4th place now as he goes running down the Stadium Garage for the final time here in race number 3. It's looking like a Newman 3 out of 3. Ayres in 2nd place here, and it's going to be Martin Sampson. Might grab that 3rd spot. I think he's going to be honest with you, Tom. I don't think anybody's going to get close to him at the moment, but we have got Pete Newman going around the final corner here for the race win. 3 out of 3 for Pete Newman. 3 out of 3. He's up 4 spaces this time. Gets the job done. Martin Sampson's going to come over and wrap up the podium. 3 there as well. 3rd place. Ricks, 3 out of 3 in the AMS. Great job from Ollie Ricks. And then all the other guys are going to come in behind again. Newman, reverse 11. He's on 11th place though. Can he come through and take the win from 11th?
Well, he was able to do so from 8th in the 2nd race. It wouldn't surprise me, but he's got 5 other pro drivers, which he has to make his way through. And that's going to be a tall order. And that's why I think the race start is going to perhaps maybe play its role into who wins in race number 4. And the moment of truth will soon come as to whether it's going to be wet or whether it's going to be dry.
Yeah, we are waiting for the final guys to get over the line. Fiona Siddons is in 12th. Ralph Cullinan will be in 13th place. Managed to get back out on track. Of course, Siddons, Cullinan, and I believe it was Hefford. Hefford clearly got away from that. Ralph with, well, no front end on the Irishman's car at all. There's the inner workings of the MX5 on iRacing as he goes over the line for the end of the race. Here are the results for race number 3. Pete Newman, Jamie Ayres and Martin Sampson is your 1, 2, 3 in the pros. And you've got Jamie Wilson behind that one. Steve Bevan and PVG in the AMS. Ollie Ricks, 3 out of 3 for him. Colin Sanson 2nd. Charles Kellerman in 3rd. And Andy Littler, Sir Alan Toon, Fiona Siddons, Ralph Cullinan and Roger Morton. Into warm-up we go. How long? Well, we're going to find out, I think. very, very shortly. Whoa! No, we're not, because iRacers just crashed on me. Wonderful. Give me 2 seconds, guys, to resolve this issue. Yeah, lovely from that one.
Whilst you are watching that, James, it's still dry conditions as far as what I can see. And don't know if there's going to be any drivers just going out for the warm-up session prior to race number 4.
Yeah, I'm not sure because I can't tell if my session's frozen where it is or it's gone completely here. Let me try and pull in. I need to have a quick chat with Steve Evans. Steve, is there an issue with the session?
No, well, there wasn't. We're waiting for Charles, but this one will just go when it's ready, won't it?
Well, I don't know. Mine's all froze up, Steve.
It's still going.
No, all right, mate. I'll drop you back. I'll have to try and restart the
All right,
start iRacing.
There's a minute 50 left on it, so it's still running.
All right, mate. Bear with them. Right, guys, give us 2 seconds.
Yep.
Right, so we are back, guys. It's managed to load me back in, which is great. We do have rain, looking at the weather and on the floor there as well. Apologies for that one. We've got quite heavy rain here at Oschersleban. We've got 25 seconds remaining of the warm-up before we go into race number 4. Don't forget top 11 reverse for race 4. Should be a very, very interesting one. Not quite sure who would have done practice in Oschersleban in the rain here. But we're going to find out as well. Give deliveries a couple of minutes to load in as we've just joined the session on that one. So just bear with us for 2 seconds and they will all render in, and then we'll be back up and running and ready to go once more for the final race of the evening. Race 3, very, very interesting. Pete Newman winning again.
Yes, absolutely, and he'll be aiming to do it again, this time in a wet race, something which he struggled last week, but hopefully he'll learn from last time and he'll get it right this time around.
Yeah, so Alan Toome will be on pole with Andy Littler, Charles Kellerman and Colin Sampson. Ollie Ricks there in 5th. Pete Van Gaal, Steve Everett, Jamie Wilson, Martin Sampson, Jamie Ayres and Pete Newman. And then we've got Fiona Siddons down in 12th. Then Ralph Cullinan and Roger Morton in 13th there as well. So keep an eye out, see how these guys get on, and hopefully we'll be up and running very, very shortly. So Alan Toone on pole position. This could be an interesting one if Tooney takes to the grid.
Yeah, well, hopefully soon we'll try and get as far as he can before he surrenders the lead to whoever it may be. But it'd be nice to see if he can try and put up a bit more of a fight than what we've seen from him in the past.
Well, lights are on. He's not going to make the grid. He's not going to make the grid, but Alan Toone is going to be free for 5 lights. We are up and running for race number 4. Big slides from everybody coming off the grid there. Charles Kellerman getting away, taking a great start. Ollie Ricks near the front as well. We know how Ricks is in the rain. He's kind of he's the tyre whisperer, car whisperer, whatever whisperer you want to call him. Ollie Ricks is doing a great job, up 1 place already. I can't see past Ollie Ricks for this race already, Tom. He is a rain master here.
Yeah, absolutely treating it like everyone is just standing still at the moment. And he's already making inroads so far. It doesn't look like Sir Alan Toone's taking the start either, James, so that could be him done for the night. Ollie Ricks trying to get through on Kellerman here. Kellerman will try and put up a fight, but Ollie Ricks finding so much more grip out of the corners. I think this is going to be a foregone conclusion.
Tucks in behind Charles Kellerman for the first of the left-handers, then the second. Then he's going to go round the triple, which is hence the name, the triple. He's got it all a little bit wrong coming into the right-hander there as Ricks. He tries to get it offline, gets a little bit of a slide on PBG. Steve Parfitt in there, Wilson's in there as well. It's a rain-soaked race number 4. Newman, where are you? He's in 8th at the moment, up 3 places from the start. Kellerman's gone round. Charles Kellerman has gone round. That's released Ollie Ricks into the lead now, and it's a great job because Ollie was coming at him. He was coming fast. Morton's also had an incident in the rain. He's gone round. It looks like there may have been contact with Roger Morton and Charles Kellerman. There is Ralph Cullinan. Cullinan gets it all a little bit wrong. Then where does Cullinan's comes round first. Morton can't just about gets and misses him there as well, so that's why them two are at the back. Newman sitting in 8th. On the back end of this pack, he's got Jamie Ayres in front, but where is anybody going to get past Ricks? Surely they're not going to be able to get past her.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it depends on how much of a fight Ricks puts on with the field here. I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion they'll win the AM race. It's just, can anyone find a way through past him? Well, Newman's up in 6th place now behind Ayres, so he's doing a terrific job of it. And he's aiming for 4 wins out of 4. Rick's aiming for 4 wins out of 4 in the AM class, which is something he has achieved before earlier in the season at Watkins Glen in round 2. And yeah, I think you can just see that Sampson and Littler are having their own tussle further behind, but they seem to have come away with that no problem. Although Sampson's run wide on the exit of turn of the hairpin there, and he's almost surrendered that position to Littler, but Littler knows that that's not his fight.
Yeah, there is the onboard of Pete Newman. As you can see, Jamie Ayres there. If we jump inside the cockpit, you can guarantee it's going to be a rain-harassed Pete Newman. He's sitting currently in 6th place, up 5, and Ayres up 5, Wilson 4, Hepford 4, Ricks 3, PBG in the lead now. And as PBG takes it up in the rain, Hepford's going to go through. Wilson wants to follow him. Hepford gets a slide. He nearly gets past Ricks. Ricks manages to hold on in the rain. Ollie Ricks there, battling away through the penultimate corner. Close. Hefford's off the side of the sack. He's trying to go around the outside of the final corner. He's Steve Edward round the outside. No, Jamie Ayres did get the job done on the inside though of Mr. Wilson as they're running side by side behind with Pete Newman just tucked in there, almost looking like he's waiting. Steve Edward wants the inside line going into Hotel. He is almost going to get it. Is Rick's going to surrender? He's not. He's going to make Hefford go around the outside. Ayres is gone on the inside of Wilson. Newman's trying to go up there as well. Great little battle in the rain from these 5 machines.
Yeah, and Rick's doing all he can to keep Hefford behind, although I don't think it's going to be too long before Hefford eventually gets through here. And they're going through the left-hander, sorry, of the Hazaroda corner. And is Hefford good enough to just get as much grip as he can out of the corner? It looks like Ricks is able to hold his nerve. We've got Newman going through on Wilson further back, and Newman has found his way through as he's not a master of these conditions like some of the drivers are. But he's carrying on regardless, and that's 5th place going to him.
Yeah, Pete Newman in 5th now. Is he going to be able to get to the front? What is the gap from the lead to Newman? 2.2 seconds. Yeah, Ricks has made a mistake. He's lost to Hefford and Ayres. Now Ricks is in front of Newman here as well, Tom.
Yeah, and I don't know how Ricks managed to run wide there, but he must have had a little bit of a tank slapper coming out of the loop, exiting the chicane, or just before the chicane. And he's now having to hold back Newman for the time being. Newman will want to dispose of Ricks sooner rather than later. I don't know how this race is going to pan out in terms of laps. I would probably lean more towards that it's going to be an 8-lap race.
Yeah, 10 seconds later, isn't it, than before the times 1:49.91 at this moment. I don't think they're going to get much quicker than a 49. I'd be surprised if they break into the 48s. Well, saying that, and Jamie Ayres did just break into the 48. So, yeah, Jamie Ayres did put it on the 48s, but I still think possibly 8, maybe 9. Rick's there, go round turn 1. He takes that car sideways. Newman's closing in. We've got a Momo 1, 2, 3. Ayres, Hefford and Van Gaal, but we've seen these boys make contact before.
Yeah, so Momo 1, 2 and 3, I can't remember the last time we've seen that, but how will they pan it? I mean, it hasn't always ended well between the Ricks goes wide again of the exit of Hazaroda, and that allows Newman through into 4th position now. And that's another position gain for him, and I can go after the Momos.
Yeah, and Newman now moving up into 4th. Wilson's going to have a go around the outside of Ollie Ricks. Is he going to be able to make it through? He does. Rick settles into where he's been for most of these races, to be fair, behind the pros, but has managed to get the win in the arms. It's now what this man's going to be. That 118 machine, is he going to be able to get up to the front and take a 4 out of 4 here?
We'll see. I mean, Gould doing a fine job in the wet so far, but Ayres is the fastest man on the circuit. Well, 1:48.7, just narrowly beating Steve Hefford's time of 1:48.7 by a couple of hundredths. So it's a matter of how Newman will get on. We'll see the true pace of Newman now. He's got by Ricks, no problem. We'll see what his lap times are like as Hefford runs wide at the penultimate turn of the course.
Yeah, that brings Newman right into it. Wilson still surviving there as well. Currently at this moment in time for the tyre compounds of these guys, they're all on wet, apart from Sampson and Cullinan on the dries. That could explain while both men are down the back end of the field. Not too sure why they thought that would be a good idea, I have to be honest on that one. Gainers and losers, you can see the top 5 up places, the next 3 down places. Martin Sampson is the only one that has not moved. Biggest loser, Colin Sampson, down 7. But if he is running the dry tyres with Cullinan, and that would explain why on that one for Colin Sampson, and he is running the dry tyre. I'm not really sure why they thought that that would be a idea. Both men trickling around like Bambi on ice here, but back up front we've got Hefford leading away. Cullinan looks like he's lost this front end again. PBG got a bit of a slide on. Ayres coming closing in. That Concertina of that. Wilson, is he going to hold it? Nope. Jamie Wilson has unfortunately gone round there, Tom, and that's going to release Momo 1, 2, 3 with Newman in 4th and Cullinan off the circuit. I'm not sure why you're still on dry tyres, I have to be honest. I think that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm absolutely appalled with that decision, to be honest with you, from Ralph Cullen. I mean, it's one thing to try and do something differently, but you've got to be realistic with yourself in terms of what the conditions are doing to the track. And clearly, he's on the wrong tyres, and it's just totally wasted this race. As PPG got well out of shape through the Shellas, that could give Steve Hefford all of what he needs to do to go through into the PVG may try and make him fight for it. Hefford also runs wide. It's not the first time we'll see him do it into that particular corner of this racetrack. But we have a new race leader of Steve Hefford, who is out in front now. And yeah, there's another back marker they're about to come up to. But it's Pete Newman who's the fastest man on the circuit on that last lap. And going over the line, he is still the fastest out of the top 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Hefford, PVG, that's Colin Sanson, who's on dry tyres. Colin Sanson, Hefford's kind of made a mistake. The Momo boys are tripping over each other. They're tripping over each other. Wilson's getting in there as not Wilson, Newman's in there as well. Sanson moves over, stays well out of the way, does Colin Sanson, as these guys continually fighting it out here. 4 drivers, nose to tail, and they're tripping over each other up front. The Momo boys need to settle it down, need to think who's going to go where and when, as they're only going to have probably 2 laps remaining. Ralph is Irish, so weird, a little different. He is, but yeah, don't know what the dry tyre situation is all about.
Yeah, and yeah, I think he'll want to look back on this race very, very, well, completely forget this race, although Pete Newman's just lost the position to Ollie Ricks now. So Newman's chances of a clean sweep are slipping away here, unless we see something drastic involving the Momos out in front. And did he catch the curve too heavily there? You want to be staying off the curves. Yeah, he just carried a bit too much speed there, just struggled to get the car down, and luckily doesn't take Ollie Ricks with him.
It doesn't, but he has lost a bunch of time to the guys in front now. Jamie Ayres is in second, Hefford third, PVG in fourth, but let's not forget they have made contact before and they have been tripping over each other during this race. So anything can happen as we got 4 minutes to go. I believe it's right. Yeah, just bear with us on this one. We just all of a sudden lost all sound to everything here on this. Hopefully we are back. That was just weird, considering we have literally lost car sounds. I've lost iRacing sounds. I've lost absolutely everything. I think the car noise is back up. Tom, speak for me.
Yeah, so we've got 2 laps remaining of this race. Yeah.
We are back, guys, as well. Sorry about that, but everything went off all of a sudden. We lost all noise, all sounds, everything. But we are back now as well. Ollie Ricks is in there. Pete Newman's not going to make it a clean sweep here. It's going to be Ollie Ricks, Steve Hefford, PVG, and Jamie Ayres battling it out for the lead. We're going to be on. We didn't see if it was the final lap. I don't believe it is the final lap. I think we're going to have possibly one more just here, and it will be just, as they've got 1:30 to get round half of this lap, and they should be able to get it done just in time. Ricks and Hefford side by side in the background. He's going to try and come through. He's only Yowza, Steve Pepper covered him off there.
So they are still in the battle for third place overall. Pinium is getting the gap down all the time, but it's going to be too late, I think. And I think it's going to be Jamie Ayres taking victory in race 4, just as it did in Mugello last week.
Yeah, he's looking like a little bit of a dead cert, is Jamie Ayres at this moment in time. We'll see how he gets on. He's got 50 seconds. 40. Jeepers, this is going to be very, very close here. Bear with us while we try and work out how close this is actually going to be. Oh, it's big snap by Ayres. Newman's closing the gap down. He's got 30 seconds to get round the two penultimate corners. This is the second to last. Another snap by Ayres. 25 on the clock. Is he going to be? Oh, I think there's going to be one more.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, I think there's going to be one more here, Tom.
Yeah, so he's got some more time just to maintain his composure. It's like he's flying the corner everywhere you look. And we're looking at the battle for second place by the looks of things. Pete Newman is there. There's no way he's going to get through all this lot unless all 4 lead drivers make the rarest mistakes on the last lap and potentially throwing away victory. In the environment ball with Ollie Ricks looking good for 4 wins out of 4 in the AM class. And he'll have taken that nice at the beginning of the night.
Yeah, Ricks is going to get that one, isn't he? Kellerman's going to get second, and I think Littler should wrap up third there. It's an unprecedented podium for Andy Littler. I'm not too sure when he was on the podium last time out. Was quite a while ago for Mr. Littler. In fact, I'm going back at Phillip Island in race number 2 was the last time I could see him on the podium, but Jamie Ayres is going to be there. He should wrap it up in the pros. He's just got to settle down now for the final bit of this final run. Jamie Ayres, can he complete it? That's going to be the question. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 more quarters to go, Jamie Ayres. Is he going to be able to make this round this corner? He should be. He's got 1.3 out in front, Tom. Surely it's a dead cert.
He went way out wide, actually, though, did Jamie Ayres through the Shell Aspie. He has enough of a cushion to hold on and take his first win of the evening and round off a brilliant win in Seoul. But it's been a good evening, nevertheless, for Pete Newman.
Yeah, Jamie Ayres is going to come over the line. He's going to take that victory for race number 4. Hefford in second. It's a 4 out of 4 for Ollie Ricks. 4 out of 4 for Mr. Ricks in the AMS. Then Pete Newman comes over the line. Wilson comes over the line in 6th place. We've got a while to wait for everybody else there. Another great race, everyone. Thank you very much. Bill, I tried my hardest in there for you. Not that was your fault, but yeah, thanks, man. I did well. Jamie Wilson comes over the line. Charles Kellerman will be next with Martin Sampson. Kellerman in the AMS, of course. Sampson in the pros. Both men managed to make it through the race and come over the line. Kellerman wrapping up 2nd place in the AMS. Sampson's got no front bumper at all. There is Roger Morton. Morton is a lap down, mind you. He had a horrendous time in the rain. Somewhere in this group is Andy Littler, who's going to wrap up his first podium since Phillip Island for Andy Littler. So he's going to come over the line and wrap that podium up as well. Fair place for him. Great race for Sutton, to be fair. Ricks again, 4 out of 4. Ayres, Van Gogh and Hefford, 1, 2, 3 for Momo.
Yeah, and Fiona Siddons was only 1 second off a podium position in class.
Fiona Siddons, yeah. Nearly. Stop close there as well, and that is the end of the race. Let's bring you up the results of the feature race here. And Jamie Ayres is in first with Pete Van Gaal and Steve Hefford. 1, 2, 3 in your pros. Ollie Ricks, another great night. 4 out of 4 for him. Pete Newman in 5th. Jamie Wilson in 6th. Charles Kellerman podium in 2nd place. Martin Sampson in 8th. And Andy Littler grabs his 2nd podium by what I can see from Phillip Island in 3rd place in the AMS. Fiona Siddons, Roger Morton, Colin Sampson, Ralph Cullinan and Sir Alan Toon wrap up this one there as well. Great racing all the way around though, Tom, and I think if that's anything to go by, the last race next week could be very, very interesting.
Yeah, and I think Daytona should put on something special for the drivers on the road course. They know their way around it. They know Daytona well, and so that'll wrap up the summer campaign very, very nicely for 7 days' time, which explains why no one should miss it. And in case you haven't done so, make sure you do like and subscribe in case you enjoyed doing all that, because this championship is going from strength to strength, as is JP Broadcasting, and it'll continue to go from strength to strength in the near future.
No, absolutely. Slick's not good, Colin Sanson. Well, I could have told you that, mate, when you got out onto the grid and there was rain. Come on, sir. I could have told you that one. Definitely not a good idea there, mate. Definitely not a good idea. Crew said no rain. Well, don't believe him. Because it was, mate. Pouring down. Absolutely pouring down. Right, guys, that's going to bring round 11 to the end. We've got one more race to go on the 27th at Daytona NASCAR Road Circuit. Stay tuned for that one. But that's going to bring it all over and dusted for great races here again this evening. I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Tom Cairns here, and the forecast changed to 0% before and after. Colin, I think they lied to you. But as always, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.